Algebra 1, Quadratics Test Review, Part 2. For a function to be considered quadratic, the variable has to have an exponent of 2. The shape of a quadratic function is called a parabola. It looks like it could have a different pronunciation, but it is parabola. F of x equal and y equal both represent a function that is true. The axis of symmetry always passes through the... Wait, didn't we look at that before? The axis of symmetry goes through the vertex, although usually we call it a line of symmetry. Always goes through the vertex. Excellent. On to page 2. For 17 and 18, use your calculator to complete the table and answer the questions. Do we have to use our calculator? Maybe we could factor this guy. F of x equals x squared minus 2x minus 15. Let's see. Do we have factors of 15 that differ by 2? Well, to multiply to a negative, we have to have one positive and we have to have one negative. X plus something, x minus something. Well, 5 and 3 differ by 2. Which one is bigger? 5 is bigger. Let's see if this works. X times x is x squared. 3x minus 5x is negative 2x. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. So, what are the solutions? If this equals 0, either this has to be 0 or that has to be 0. If x minus 5 is to be 0, then, and here is our 5, then what is the value of the other solution? Well, this has to be 0, so that would be negative 3. Negative 3 plus 3 is 0. That would make the whole expression 0. So negative 3 is one root, and positive 5 is another root. Negative 3 is 1, so when x is negative 3, f of x is 0. What is our vertex? Well, we remember from the graph that our vertex is going to be a maximum or a minimum, and it has to be halfway between this root, the negative 3, and this, the positive 5. How far is this? Negative 3 to 0 is 3. 0 to 5 is 5. So we have 3 plus 5, a total of 8. If we have a total of 8, half of that would be 4. So the vertex is going to be, the x value is going to be positive 1. Now what's the y value going to be? Well, we can figure that out. 1 squared is still 1, minus 2 times 1. 1 minus 2 is -1 minus 15 is -16. Is this going to be a maximum or a minimum? This is +1, so we're going to have a minimum. Look at us, we have done all of this without a calculator. Find the value of f of x when x equals -2. Well, let's see. -2 squared is 4. -2 times -2 is +4. 4 minus 4 is 0. So I think this might be -15. When x equals 4, 4 squared is 16. Minus 8 would be 8. 8 minus 15 would be -7. Our zeros and our roots are exactly the same thing. Find the domain and range of the function. Well, the domain is going to be all real numbers because the curve will go on forever. Although when I drew my little example, I should have drawn it that way, -3, +5. What's the range of the function? The range is y greater than or equal to -16. Now, I did all that in my head. Let's see how close I was to what the calculator gets. I shall turn it on. I shall clear this function, and I am going to type in x squared minus 2x minus 15. I did this not to show off how quickly I can work, but only to show that with practice, for many problems, you don't even need a calculator in order to solve them. It's very useful when you forgot your calculator, when it ran out of batteries, or when you want to dazzle and impress your friends. Okay, let's look at the graph. Let's look at the table. When x is -3, f of x is 0. When x is -2, f of x is -7. When x is -1, -12, 0, -15, 1, -16, 2, -15. Down a little further. 3, -12, 4, -7. Those of you who are watching from other countries, you probably laugh at the lazy Americans who use a calculator to solve such simple problems. Let's see, when x equals 4, -7, -2, -2, see, I made a mistake here. When x is -2, it's -15. When x is 2, it's -15. But when x is -2, it's really -7. Let's just double check. Yep. So when x is -2, y is -7. When x is 4, y is also -7. Okay. Good.